Okay, so hello, welcome to Ekidel. Um, Here in my office, I want to be performing a live design, which is a cost-effective design, and I'll be using the software Protastructure. Now, if you look at my screen here, let me just open the software. Now, this is the building I want to be using to perform the cost-effective design and all that. Now, this building here was given to us by the client to perform a structural design, and this is just a one-story building. So basically, if you've been having difficulties in performing a cost-effective uh, design of a structure and also which is suitable, then I'll be showing you on this video today. So welcome to Ekidel. My name is Justice Onoka and I am your instructor. So today, I'll be performing a cost-effective design for a residential building. Now, on that note, looking at this now on my screen, which is this, let me share my screen now for you guys to see. So if I go back now and then share my screen for you to see that, and then display my screen now, I believe you'll be able to see the screen. Okay, let me know when you guys see the screen. You can use the comment section to let me know when you're able to see the screen. But I believe you are able to see the screen now, correct? Let me just minimize now. So now, following this building which you have here on our screen, which is a live design which I'm performing for a client. Now, the client actually requested for a cost-effective design and all that, knowing that when we are performing a design of a structure, two things you have to focus on. One is the stability of the structure, and the other is the cost effectiveness of the structure. A good design must not be too expensive for the clients to afford while you maintain the structural stability. Now, on that note, I'll be using this building to perform or to carry out that with you. So on this now, you can see if I scroll back now, and then you'll be able to see the entire CAD file which we have here on our screen. Now, following this now, you can be able to see that this is the ground floor and all that. This has some kind of fanciful staircase. Then if you also look at this now, this is the first floor having a void through the living room. You can see that double volume. Then also you can also see the penthouse. Let me now walk you through to the elevations or sections. So this is the front elevation of the building, which you can see here, having four designed pillars at the front or columns. Then also this is the rear, which is the back elevation, and then this is the right elevation, and this is the left elevation. Just fine. Now this is now the section of each of the build elevations following the views where they cut from the sections. So this is the section A1 and section A2. You can see the staircase here and all that. So one of our major goal right now on this building is to perform the design of the structure and also support this staircase and all that. So knowing that now, let's now move on to the structural design phase properly. So looking at this right now, knowing that the first place we perform our structural framing is to perform it on the ground floor plan. So on this ground floor plan now, the first thing I'll do, which is a culture here on Ekidel, and which I always advise as a culture, is to copy out the entire structural, the entire CAD file to a different location for you to have what? For you to have a duplicate. So right now, copy this now by typing CP and then click on any point here and then have a duplicate, let me say around here. So with this now, I'll be working on this particular duplicate, which I have just copied it out. Okay, that's fine. Now, while I wait for the system to respond, because currently we are like streaming live and all that, so it's like a bit lagging. Okay, so right now, once you have come to this phase now, the first thing I'll do is to make my ground floor plan, is to clean it up. All right, clean it up simply means by removing the things that are not necessary on the building plan. Now, note that the features that this building has is a lift. You can see a lift here, and this is a residential building. So there's a lift here, which will make us to have a shear wall around this place, which is a lift wall, a reinforced wall, and then a staircase. You can see this, how the staircase looks like, and also a back staircase here. So I'll be showing you how to support this staircase, because knowing that if you look at the section here, you can see that this from the view here, this staircase needs to be supported on a landing around this place. So we will be showing how to support the landing of this staircase around it. It is from different elevation from the slab level. Okay, that's fine. So right now, back to our GA now. On this GA, the first thing we'll do is to remove the dimensions. So by doing that, I'll just come here and click on this dimension and note the layer property, which is what this is showing, A anno D. Okay, that's fine. So right now, I'll come here, highlight this ground floor, or highlight the both ground floor and the first floor, and then right click and then say quick select. So I'll come and say quick select, and then allow that to open up, and then we will have to locate that layer property. All right, so come and click on layer, and then come and then locate that layer property here, and then we locate this. Yes, then let me see that again. This one here, and then click on what? Okay, automatically right now it will pick just the dimensions alone, and I'll press E, enter. E means to erase. So with this now, we have just erased this dimension on the main original plan. Now, knowing the culture here, that if you want to, after this live meeting, I'm going to add this card file, the link to this card file under this video description. But note, all our card file based on trying to help people to follow up is $1. That's the maximum. Okay, that's fine. So right now, once you've done that, the next thing now is to place your structural grid lines. Now, most times, architects that are very, very good used to place grid lines, knowing that most architects used to have a course which they go for, which is the structural course, which they go for later. So most of them has a structural idea, and they tend to perform their design for their building when they are trying to create a building plan, following the structural idea experience. But with that, we will have to also create our structural grid lines. But from what I'm seeing here, I can see that the architect has already placed a grid line, which I feel is a bit useful. So what I will do, instead of removing all these grid lines, I will make use of these grid lines that came with the building plan. But note that it is always advisable to have your own structural grid line. Okay, that's fine. Now, so with that now, since I want to make use of this particular grid line, what I'll do is to remove all these callouts, all these bobs for these grid lines, because I don't need them. I'll remove them, and also remove this other one here too. I'll remove this too. Now, I'll then look at for some grid lines that are not necessary. For example, let me look at something. I can see that there's a grid line here, which is not calling out anything. But let's see if it is calling out on the first floor. If it is, that means that there is a cantilever. Let's look at the plan again. You can see that there's a small, let me see again. A small cantilever is around this place, which is at the back. So that gives us the notion that this building has a small cantilever at the back. Can you see that? Okay, you can also see it here, a small cantilever. So with that, just to be sure, we are going to dimension the ground floor and the first floor end to end. So come here now, dimension this from this end. So from this end now to this end here for us to check the overall dimension of the ground floor and the first floor. So we do this now, and this gives us what? 24,975 millimeter. Again, this also again, dimension this again from here all the way down to here too. Let's see, this is the first floor. Let me see that. You're correct. Then let's see this. This is 26. So you can see that there is about 1 point something meters difference. Okay, that shows that there is a cantilever on this building. So with that now, we have taken note of that. Okay, that's fine. So again, I'll just remove this dimension now. And then, since I have known that there is a cantilever, all right, on our left-hand side of the, sorry, on our right-hand side of the building, which is this side, right, we'll have to take note of that. So with that now, once you want to begin your structural framing, the first thing to do is to understand the building plan, which we have done now, to look out for the features. If there's a lift, where the staircase is, and if there's a cantilever on the building, what purpose is for the building? In this case, this is a residential building. That means that our life load or imposed load will be 1.5 kilonewton per meter square during our design. And our dead load, we are going to choose it based on the finishing load and partition load. Okay, that's fine. So with that now, we are then going to do what? We are then going to create 2 layers. Since we are using the software Protastructure for our design for this structure, we are going to create 2 layers before we can export this plan as our GA drawing into the software. So with that now, we are then going to create 2 layers. I'll type layer, okay, layer right now, and press enter key. So on that now, I'll then come and then click on new. This is to create a new layer. Okay. So with that now, I'll then click on this new here. And on this new, you can see that we have a new layer now. I'll then come and type grid, all right? And then choose a color. I can maintain the color which they have used here, which is this black color here, which is nice for me. I can choose to come here and then choose a color 8, which is gray. I'll come and choose the dark gray here and then press OK. Then I'll come again and create a new layer again. I'll click again here and then create and call it column. So this is just the 2 grid lines, sorry, the 2 layer property that we need to perform our structural framing. So with this now, I'll then come on here and then choose the color of that column layer. Come again, sorry, cancel this, and then come again here, choose this to be, I normally like to choose green, but based on this is a white background, let me choose red. I don't know if red will be okay. Okay, let me just choose dark green for that first to see, or red. Let me just choose red. And then I'll come now and then increase my layer property. Sorry, my line width for the column for it to be what visible. So let me say 0.6 or something, or 0.7. I'll then come and say okay. So with that now, this is the 2 grid lines that we are meant to create, which is what? Sorry, I need to change this back. Sorry for that. Okay, this other one. Change this back to color. This one here. That's it. So now, once we have created these 2 grid lines, column and then grid, these 2 layers, I'll just come and do what? Click on what? Close. So with this now, since I want to maintain or use the structural grid line, all right, what I will do right now is to do what? I'll come here and then convert this axis to my grid line layer. Because right now, it is still on the S grid that came with the plan. And we are going to name it what? Grid. So I'll come again here, highlight this also again, and then convert these 2 now to grid line layer, which is, I'll come and click on what? Grid here. Okay. And I'll come here and make sure this is what? By layer. By layer. And this also by layer. All right. And then this also by layer. So with that now, it takes the property of what we set here on our layer properties. So on that now, we have created our grid lines. Okay. The next thing now we'll do, but if you don't have grid lines on the building plan, like what you do is to come here. Once you've created your grid lines, come here and then choose the grid, right? And then divide this line, this wall by 2, all right? And then type XL, enter, V, enter, right? And then come and place your